Hey guys, Nick here, and welcome to the Omniverse of Nick and the next single story, and it's going to be a short one. What if Rick Grimes was in Saw? Now, before we get started, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the Omniverse of Nick, and further acknowledge and support the future of the Omniverse by checking out the Discord, Patreon, and both Google Docs on the homepage, as well as commenting future requests and expectations for this year in the comments. Let's get started. Now we're checking what if Rick Grimes was in Saw. Now this is going to be a short one, and honestly, surprised that it actually is this short, but you guys will understand why. Now, recently, I did What If Shane Was in Saw. This is one of the reasons why it's going to be short, because it's very similar, and yet surprisingly shorter than Shane's perspective for the Saw universe. So now, we touch upon Rick Grimes and if he met Jigsaw or if he was in the Saw universe, etc., etc. We're going to be touching upon the negative and the good about what Rick Grimes would do if he were in the Saw universe. So, let's begin. So, let's just get this out of the way. If he was with Eric Matthews and Riggs and all the cops and, Tap, all the good guys, cops, and everything, like the ones that mainly went after Jigsaw directly, basically the first, few movies after the first one. You guys get what I mean. Basically after Tap. Because Tap was more or less one of those smaller cops. He was just a small detective. Point is, if he was with those cops, or just any part of the cop division in the Saw universe, Jigsaw's done. Same with Shane, except I feel it's much more grounded and yet easier with Rick. You gotta think from perspective. Rick Grimes is probably one of the most influential cops and good guy characters in the entire Walking Dead. Think about this for a second. In the comics, he was disarmed literally during the Governor arc and was far weaker. He got killed in the Commonwealth by Sebastian. Sebastian, for God's sake. But that's because the cop, Rick Grimes, in the comics was undermined and yet so utilized because of his one arm. Basically the entirety of the comics. But in the show, it's far more great than what the comics offered. Not only does he keep the whole teeth biting routine in times of severe need of doing it, to this day, Rick Grimes admitted to the CRM that is his most brutal kill. And we all know it. What else could top that racket? And he is one of the most balanced, thought out, and honestly, smartest cops. It only took him very short strides to finally get in to a darker persona, but that's because he played it smart and knew how to balance the role of a cop, you know? But it's only when he was forced to that he turned bad. So, in summation, if he was with the cops in the Saw universe, Jigsaw's done. Regardless of it's Rick or Shane, no matter if it's more violent or not, Jigsaw's done. Literally. There's no way that John Kramer would stand any kind of chance. You thought Eric Matthews beating and breaking down John Kramer was one thing? Rick would stop all that from happening and would either arrest him on the spot, drill the information out of him, or make sure that no one else gets trapped. Either way, Jigsaw loses. And yeah, Rick Grimes proves his worth in this universe by showing that even the illustrious John Kramer of the Saw universe is no match for him. And before you guys ask anything about that negative part, there is no negative. Rick Grimes, unlike Shane, would not join the likes of any one of John Kramer's accomplices. He would not join the cause. He would not do the traps. None of it. Shane, oh yeah, he'd be on board 100,000%. Shane fits the role of a jigsaw accomplice to a T. Rick Grimes, he was never a bad guy. He never joined any groups. And the only reason that Daryl Dixon did is because he was forced to. The Claimers, it was just because he was looking for someone to ride with, or Beth, or Rick, or somebody. He wasn't even expecting to find them. Mainly Beth. Reason he was part of the Saviors, he was forced to. Reapers, there was Leah. Commonwealth, common interest. So, all that said, Rick Grimes, he doesn't fit the role of a bad guy. He would never join John Kramer. Heck, he wouldn't even get trapped. And if he did get trapped, we all know what Rick Grimes does when he's put in a severe situation. He either bites someone's throat out or cuts off his freaking hand. So, if Jigsaw were to trap him, Rick Grimes would do everything in his power. Arm, leg, it doesn't matter. Heck, he probably would scalp his own freaking face. Point is, there is nothing John Kramer could do to Rick Grimes that would stop this illustrious main character of the Walking Dead franchise from getting out of it. And yeah, that's it. So in closing, Rick Grimes being in Saw would actually be more good, if anything, than Shane. And there's a reason for that. Number one, Shane was pretty much evil from the start. Number two, Shane was way more ahead of the group in The Walking Dead than Rick, because he later adapted. And number three, I just do not see Rick joining Jigsaw at all. So that's where it pretty much comes to an end on this analysis. That's why I said it would be just like Shane, except worded different. Because honestly, when you look at it, Rick and Shane were a lot alike. But the main thing that kept them close was that they knew each other, they were brothers, and they were cops. But that's it. That's literally the only similarities between them. Besides that, that's where the similarities end. Rick is a far different person, but he adapts quickly to very horrendous and dangerous situations. When he was in the CRM, he cut off his own arm to try and escape. Even if that took another 6 years, he still did it with help, even though it took quite a bit. But the point is, even if he were trapped or almost forced to join Jigsaw, Rick would just find a way to escape and then either kill him or just escape to live to fight another day. And then John would have just been caught that way. So it's like the Shane one, except way, 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 way more good. Maybe not so much on the side of Rick for any expense of limbs that he would have to cut off, but hey, good on the fact that he would save tons and tons and tons of casualties. And that's where this analysis video ends. So, another little short break will ensue by the time I'm recording this, and the Frieza turning good story by the time that that's fully uploaded, and the third McQueen episode airs, McQueen Walking Dead episode airs, that is when I will be working on the next two, which will be the Dreadwing and John Wick Never Retiring. But of course, I make these reminders even though, you know, like, you guys will already have frickin' gone on to that point of near those stories. But hey, general reminder for anyone who wants every single little update. Although I think I should cut that short, honestly. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this little analysis of another crossover character in the Saw franchise. The next one will be Dewey from the Scream franchise. That one will be a tiny bit more interesting, but don't expect anything too in-depth. But it will be a little bit interesting. And I'll see you guys later.